So I hear you want to get into acrylic painting, huh? Okay. Hey little artists, welcome back. Today we'll be talking about acrylic paints. Again! So like I mentioned in my last video, I plan to do a couple of paint-throughs? Paint demonstrations. I plan to do some paintings. So I'm going to be doing some paintings from beginning to end, and the medium I'm choosing to do that in is acrylic. So I thought it would be a good idea to go over some basic bare bone tips about acrylic painting, even though I know I probably said them in previous videos. But for the next video, I'm going to be doing one of those paint throughs, I guess we'll call them. So I thought it'd be helpful just to go over some of those reminders in this video. So here are 5 super awesome you must know or your life may end, but not really because it's just a clickbaity title. Tips for beginners in acrylic paint. Tip number 1, always use synthetic brushes when using acrylic paint. So acrylic paint is basically just plastic. And because of that, you want to use synthetic brushes, meaning man-made brushes, not animal hair brushes, because animal hair brushes have, I'm sure you've seen, I'll throw up some microscope images of animal hair brushes. And animal hair, like all hair, has little segments that plastic can get caught in. Synthetic brushes, these ones don't have that. So it's just a way to, one, get the paint off your brush when painting easily, and then cleaning up. It's much easier to clean acrylic paint off these brushes than it is for animal hair, which tends to ruin it, especially if you don't clean it right away after use. So when using acrylic paints, always use synthetic brushes, which is fine because synthetic brushes are usually cheaper. Tip number 2, you're probably going to want to have some tiny little spray bottle, not like an intense spray one, just like a mister, just to keep your painting wet. Like I said earlier, acrylic paint is a plastic that is water soluble. It is also a really fast drying paint, so if you want to keep your paints from drying really quickly, my art fell. No. We can fix it. We just need a little more tape. Yeah, here. There we go. Good as new. Nobody will know. Who's gonna sell them? It's fine. It didn't fall. All right, what was I saying? Acrylic's a plastic, it's water, it dries really fast. It's been known acrylic paint dries so fast that sometimes while you're painting it will dry. So if you're gonna be doing especially a big painting, it's good to have a little mister and just mist it every now and then with water just to keep it, wet and not from drying. Don't do it too much, otherwise it will start to drip. Again, that's more for bigger paintings and depends on what you're doing. For the paintings that we're gonna do in the next video, you probably don't need one. But it's just a helpful tip to know. Tip number 3, do not use a pen or pencil in your underdrawing. Pen or pencil, even if you paint over it, it will inevitably, doesn't matter if it takes a couple weeks, a couple months or years, it will always bleed through and show through your painting at some point. That's just the nature of the medium. So do not use those. The best things you can use, some artists use soft vine charcoal to do a drawing, and other people like me use, I'll just take a really thin wash of like a darker color that I'm going to use in the painting, and I'll just sketch it out that way. Also, bonus tip, like I said, acrylic is water soluble, so if you mess up and you want to erase it, all you gotta do is get a wet napkin or a wet clean brush, and you can just scrub that away like magic. Oh, so helpful extra tip. But yeah, like I said, I always just do a thin layer of paint in the color that I'm going to be using in the painting, so that even if it does bleed through, it still matches the original painting. Tip number 4, always do a wash before you start painting. What does that mean? Well, if you ever painted on canvas or even just looked at a canvas, you may have noticed that it has like a grid-like texture to it, has little holes and divots everywhere, and if you ever actually painted on a canvas, just straight started painting, you may have noticed after the painting dried and the plastic constricted, that little white speckles seem to pop up everywhere, and it just looks weird and wrong. Well, you can get rid of that by doing a wash. And a wash is simply taking a thin layer of paint and just going over the entire canvas to make it a certain type of tone or color. When you're doing a wash, it's important to keep in mind what colors you're going to use in your painting. Like if you're going to do a blue painting, maybe do a blue wash. If you're going to do, a bright, sunny, happy one, you might do, a yellow wash or a red wash. Whatever type of wash, but what this will do is it will stain basically the entire canvas so there's no white speckles. So once you start doing the painting and it dries and like little things start to poke through, it won't be white and super noticeable. It'll just be a color that's in your painting and it'll make the painting look a lot better. Tip number 5, you clean your brushes in the water, not on the napkin. This may surprise you, but I actually used to teach painting. Yeah, one of the things I'd always see my students doing is, you know, I would give them a cup of water to rinse and clean their brush and a napkin to dab. But I would say a lot of people just quickly dip their brush in the water and then use the napkin to try and clean the paint off their brushes. And then they'd wonder why their painting was all muddied and the color was all like mixed together and not looking good. And that's because, like I said earlier, acrylic paint is water soluble. So you really want to use the water to clean. You should be cleaning, your brush should be super clean coming out of that water. And then the napkin is just for moisture control. It's just, you know, you dab it to get a dry brush. If you want a little bit of wetness, you can just lightly dab it, but that's what the napkin's for. It's not to scrape off the paint from your paintbrush. That's just not gonna work. Also, I don't know why people don't think of this, but you can change your water whenever you want. Eventually your water's gonna get really muddy and dirty, and that will somewhat carry over to your painting, but guess what? You can just change the water. It's usually free to do so. People just don't think of it. I change my water all the time. I may have separate water too. I'll have one that's for really dark colors and one's for lighter colors if I'm, you know, in a situation where I can't go back and forth easily to change the water. So always keep that in mind when doing, and separate extra super bonus tips. Whoa, extra tips. Cleaning your brush. So once you're done, obviously you're gonna clean your brush with water and soap because that's the easiest way to get rid of acrylic paint. Now, when drying your brush, don't put it in a cup facing up, because if you do this and it's wet, it will eventually start to spread as it dries and your brush will just open up and it won't be as useful. Now, I assume you won't be like the super fancy professional artists who have like a special thing that clips and then hangs it, and it hangs like this to keep the form of the brush. If you do, cool. If you want to build something really quick that works, that's cool. Or you could just be a normal person, and I just lie it flat. I just clean it, you know, wash it all off, lie it flat on a napkin, it's fine. The thing I want to make sure you don't do is just put it in a cup to dry, because over time it'll ruin your brushes, and then you'll just have to keep buying more brushes. So save you a little bit of money. So there you go, 5-ish life-altering tips for beginners in acrylic paints. No, but I hope you found this video enjoyable and useful. If you want to learn more about acrylic painting, the next video I will be releasing in 2 weeks, I'll be going through a whole painting from beginning to end. So if you really want to get into acrylics and learn just the bare basics, you can just walk through it with me. It's really easy and it's not going to take that long. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that bell, or this chunky boy will eat me in my sleep. Keep on creating, and I will see you someplace else.